Good evening. Welcome to Astroyoga. My name is Olga Chwa, and I'm so delighted to be your guide this evening. Our moon today is in Leo, and Leo governs the solar plexus. So we'll touch a little bit on issues of confidence, of self-esteem, as well as a little bit of core strength. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to support this channel. Touching the fingertips to the thumb one by one helps the brain come awake as well. It's another tactic to stimulate alertness from this practice. And let's stay with the hands. If you're in a place where it's comfortable to close the thumbs in and wrap the fingers around the thumbs, giving the hands a little fist, and continue with that squeeze and release. Pumping a little bit through the hands and then opening. And you might try to open one finger at a time. And when the fingers open, they extra open. You explore the spaces between the fingers. So we've got this contrast of the smallest hand possible, that fist all curled up, wound up. And that little bit of pumping helps move the fluids from the fingers, palms, and then when the hands are open, stretching, spreading, expanding, extending. A little squeeze, squeeze. And then the opening. And you can do this again in any position. You might be sitting, you might continue lying down, you might change your position. Let's also fold just the knuckles as if you're scratching, and you keep going so that the hands stay open, but the fingers close down. So just the knuckles a few times. Getting all that circuitry. There's so much neural pathway between the hands and the brain. The brain has a lot of real estate dedicated to our hands. If this feels good, let's keep going. Little rotations, letting the thumbs roll around about 3 times clockwise, 3 times counterclockwise. And then moving down the line, index fingers, 3 circles left, 3 circles right. See if you can find that movement through the middle fingers and the 4th fingers. 3 loops left, 3 loops right, and then those little guys, left and right. And then some organic movements, some piano playing, some keyboard movements, it's raining down, little wiggles and movements in the fingers, and then stillness. Take a moment for an awareness of contrast after those efforts with the fingers and the hands. Let that stop and check in and feel in. What are the sensations that this movement produced? How does the body feel? What's changing? As we move into the wrists, forward and back. Wrists go back and forth a few times. Staying in the range of movement that feels comfortable. And if you're dealing with maybe a recent injury, you might even spread that out and do one at a time. If one of the wrists is feeling really different than the other one, you might need to work with them separately. And then making a loose fist, just a little rounding of the fingers to rotate at the wrists. So you're drawing circles with the wrist joint. And the circles go one way and they go the other way. And then see if you can do a little figure 8 with the wrists. I find it difficult with the rounded fingers. I like to kind of point my hands as if I've got a pencil in there and I'm drawing a number 8. And then reversing that direction. So going backwards, tracing those steps. Hands and wrists and rest. Again, taking a moment after the effort to reset, to find the stillness, and to notice the effects. We'll move up these joints of the arms with the elbows. Elbows open out. If you have the space to reach in front, that's one option. You might reach to the front. You can also reach out to the sides if that's maybe available to you in a better way. And you can also reach overhead. We've got a couple different places to straighten the arms. So choose your favorite or play with all three to find your favorite. Opening and closing the arms and noticing what that feels like. And again, you might need to even break that up into one side at a time to feel, oh, what does the left elbow feel? What does the right elbow feel? And after several of these, stop halfway so that the arms are in a right angle. And again, they can be anywhere. I think somewhere front and sides are kind of probably going to be easiest. And then you might even point your fingers as if they were pencils. You're drawing circles on the ceiling. So rotations through the elbows. In one direction and reversing that, going the other way. And now drawing the infinity symbol. Looks like I'm a fancy symphonic conductor. Drawing these infinity symbols. And this is the wackiest. Reversing, going backward. How does infinity go backwards? Well, you can reverse your direction for the elbows and let that rest. It's a little brain game in the process. Moving on to the shoulders, beginning with the fingertips on or near the shoulders and then the elbows towards each other and apart. Taking a few moments to work out the stiffness in the shoulders. You might focus on the shoulders and stay with the shoulders in this practice. That's a welcome option. And you might also make this a bigger movement. You might make this, oh, I've got an example right here on my lap, into a cat pose. Rolling the spine forward and back. How do you like that, cat? Oh, I think my cat doesn't like this sitting cat pose. There we go. That's a choice. You might stay with the spine steady. You might focus on the shoulders, and you might like to bring it into your body. These are options. From the forward and back, as you've noticed, we've got a theme and a pattern here. We do a circle. Same principle applies. It could be one side at a time if you're particularly caring for anything happening in the shoulders, some maybe injury or chronic tension. Drawing the circle with the elbow. One direction, the opposite direction. On one side, on the other side. So you're doing 3 or 4 circles. If one side feels really accessible and easy, you might do fewer. If one side feels stiff, you might do an extra one to help those fibers lengthen out, those muscle fibers. And you might also try both together. There's a couple variations. There's the parallel variations where the elbows are sort of in the same position, moving up and back and down. But you can also separate that out, sort of like a swimming variation, that one arm goes around and then the other one. A couple different options here. And you're finding your favorite, right? I'm giving you ideas and options, but you are feeling through it and then you're making a decision. We went to a forward direction, right? The elbows were lifting. So now reversing that, the elbows go back and come down at the front. And again, that might be kind of like swimming, that one side goes and the other side goes, or you might be moving both together. Let's give that 2 or 3 more breaths. And from the movement, find stillness. And notice the effects. Take a moment, 2 or 3 breaths at least, with no effort, letting go and feeling in. What did I just do? What does that feel like? What are the effects? And next on the list from the shoulders is the neck. Do a slow motion yes. Oh yes. What are you saying yes to this season? I'm saying yes to keeping warm. That's something I need to bundle up to do. So I'm saying yes to bundling up in my part of the world. I'm saying yes to busy days. I'm saying yes to good food, good meals, all the things that we welcome, that we invite. Oh yes, please. Arrive at the center for the side bend. The ear moves towards the shoulder on the one side and up and over on the other side. And a little bit like a candy cane. That's good seasonal reference, right? You got that tall spine and just the top of the head curls over like that shepherd's hook. So you're lengthening, right? There's a height that you're looking for through the body as the head moves side to side. And this is sort of an I don't know movement of the head, and acknowledging the mystery, acknowledging that as much as we plan, as much as we organize and prepare, there will always be surprises. There will always be unexpected things happening in life. And that's just how it is. There's so much I don't know. So much that I have no idea what it's going to be like, how it's going to turn out. And that's part of life. So coming into the center for our twist, the twist of the neck, just looking over the shoulder on the left, on the right. Slow motion, no. Slow motion, no. As if shaking your head, and you might go through a list in your knowing about the things you're setting boundaries with. Coming into this new season, into the new year. Oh no, no more chaos. Nope. No illnesses, thank you. The viral kind, especially those contagious ones, oh no. What other boundaries might you be setting as you enter this new season? And arriving back to the center. We'll put the three movements together in a rotation. If your nose were a pencil and there were a piece of paper right in front of your face, you would draw a little circle, maybe as big as a walnut or a chestnut. And then slowly allowing it to be bigger. If that feels good, you might make the circle as big as a salad plate and then up to a dinner plate. And then up to what are those called? Chargers, those giant plates, serving plates. You're listening to your own body. You're going as slowly as you need to feel everything along the way. You don't want to miss a beat here as you feel around the clock of the movement of the neck in one direction, and arriving to stillness to reverse that direction. If you were going clockwise, you go counterclockwise. Slow as slow can be. The slower you go, that gives the brain more time to communicate with individual muscles, get them all on board. Rotations, again, arrive in stillness, and you choose if you want to do an infinity or a figure eight. Your nose is the pencil there, and you're drawing either a vertical eight or a horizontal infinity. Notice which direction you're going. Notice which way you're moving on which part of that shape so that you can reverse and go backwards. Infinity or figure eight. Acknowledging that for all the yeses and all the maybes and all the no's, there's an infinite continuum here of life events and opportunities. After completing these movements with the neck, find a stillness for a moment, take a little breath, and we'll move to the lower limbs. I'll pull out the chair for that. You might be lying down, you might be sitting, either way, your feet are nearby, you've brought them along. So take a moment to notice your toes and your ankles. And the challenge the challenge today will be to combine toe and ankle movements. So you might lift your toes and then lift the ankles, fold the toes down and open the feet down. And combining toe and ankle movements. And those might be even bigger movements if you are lying down or sitting and able to keep your feet off the floor. You might even extend and open the ankles deeper past the right angle of the standing position there. And that has a direction, whatever, if you're combining them, then you're going to try to reverse that direction. I was lifting with the toes up, so now I'm lifting with the toes down and moving down with the toes up. The ankle keeps going back and forth, and I've changed what I'm doing with the toes. These are challenging for the brain. If you're having trouble kind of figuring it out, that's part of the practice. So be gentle with yourself, do your variation, your modification of it. Part of the game is to use the body, and part of it is to mind-body connect, right? To get the brain in on this. So toes and ankles, knees like elbows, they open and close. So let's find a straight leg and a bent leg. If you're sitting on the floor with straight legs, you can bring a leg up to the chest. And if you're sitting on the chair, your job is to lift the lower leg. On the left 3 or 4 times, on the right. When the knee is at a right angle, it has the option to also do an internal and external rotation. A lot of that happens through the hips. So if you feel that stretch coming up the thigh, that's great. A little bit happens at the knee. So see if you can find that range of movement side to side. Keeping the knee more or less at a right angle. How far to the right? How far to the left? Inside, outside. We got 2 knees, so take a moment on one side and then the other. Capricorn rules the knees. So we're in the season of Capricorn here. The sun is in that zodiac sign, and we're going to take care of our winter knees for the next month. We did opening and closing. We did the inside and the outside, and then you can connect those dots. So again, you might open, find that outside dot, close, find the inside dot. You might start a little boxy and then see if you can smooth that out. The rotation might not be a circle. If you actually were painting with your foot, it might be a teardrop or an egg shape. Just welcoming whatever amoeba you're painting there with your foot as the knee gets its movement. And we'll change that direction, right? In rotations, we've got clockwise and counterclockwise. And before you go to the second leg, take a moment to compare. Notice what you're doing. Notice the effects. Is there a contrast? Does one side feel differently? Having done that before the other one. And then when you're ready, you catch up with the other one. Finding those 4 points that you established a moment ago, the open leg, reaching out, the closed leg, reaching in, and then smoothing out those points to a rotation that might be a little bit like a teardrop. Clockwise and counterclockwise, we've got our 2 directions. As you complete that, come again into stillness, into your rest. This will take just a minute with the hips, can't leave those out. If you're on a chair, your practice might be coming to the edge of the chair to swing a leg out and bring it back in to find that movement of extending out and extending in. If you're on the floor, you might bring the feet down and let the knees both open, if that feels good. And you might have a little dynamic butterfly for the hips. And we'll play with a hip rotation today. So again, on the chair, that's imagining your knees, the laser pointer. If you've got a light coming out of your knee, can you draw a circle on the opposite wall? And it might be tiny, it might be the size of an orange or a teacup. Drawing that circle with the whole hip socket, clockwise and counterclockwise. Hi, buddy. And if you're sitting on the ground, you can do that. Again, imagining your knees a laser pointer. And so you're finding that movement. Where can the thigh bone point to find that directions in a clockwise and in a counterclockwise? We got two sides. As you complete one side, compare. Take this moment to say, oh, what does that feel like? In my body, the side that I have practiced just feels lower. I feel closer to the ground on that side. That might be true for you, but you might have a different experience. So check in. What's true after doing just one side? How does that feel? And then finding that second side as if that knee were emitting a ray of light that draws shape, circling it around 3 or 4 times. More if it feels good. If you're like, oh, wow, that really gets that spot, hang out there. Go for it up to 8 times. 2 directions, clockwise and counterclockwise. And into rest, into stillness. If you're sitting on the floor, let your next movement be a forward bend. If your legs are extended, take a moment to reach towards the toes. You don't have to reach them. You might get as far as the lower legs or the ankles. Take a few moments, lifting tall through the spine. You're tall and leaning towards the feet. On the chair, similar invitation to come forward and then to come back up. And in the up, there's an effort to be a little taller, like a little more space between the hips and the ribs, and that height folds over and comes back up. 4 or 5 times, not too much, just enough to feel the spine and to arrive back at center, back to noticing, to stillness. And we'll do a twist if you're sitting. Both arms can come to the same side. One might come to the opposite leg while the other one goes behind. And if you're in a sitting position, no different, letting that be a sitting twist. The muscles that allow our spines to move in this twisting way are some of the smallest muscles in the spine. They've got funny names like rotatories and multifidi. Sounds like pasta. Little muscles that connect the individual vertebrae, like a lattice work up there, and create the movement of a twist. And you might also make a bigger movement with the arms. Reaching, maybe with just one arm open wide. How far does it go? On the left arm. And then on the right side. That lifted arm, get a little more of the upper back towards the spine. Plenty. I feel warm in my body. I imagine you might as well. Come into stillness. Thanks for joining this session. Notice how you feel in your whole body now, and take a moment to be aware of all the benefits. Remember, you are always welcome to come back. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. Maybe hit the notification button to get the latest videos, and like all the videos that you watch. If you enjoy these practices, consider making a donation. There's a PayPal link in the description, and other methods on my website at olgachwa.com/sponsor. While you're on my website, please add your email to my list to get the updates of my new YouTube uploads and live Zoom classes and special workshops. All the things that don't even make it to the channel. It'd be great to see you. All gratitude. I'm Olga Chwa.